BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, NHL to entertainment and political props. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Welcome to the Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals podcast, part of the Bleav Network, joined by former tight end and Super Bowl 33 participant Ed Smith. My name is Javon Adams. Be sure to subscribe, comment, rate, and follow this podcast and tell all of your Arizona Cardinals fans and friends to do the same. You can also watch us on Bleav TV around the country, in airports, and on YouTube. Read the top Bleav stories at si.com and follow us across all our Bleav socials. Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. What is good, my brother Ed?
Well, here we are to talk about the 4-4 first place, or tied for first place Cardinals. I wonder if that sounds like one of the strangest things. Like if at the beginning of the year, if we'd have tossed that out, considering the other teams in our division, 4-4 would be locked in there. I guess tiebreakers, we might even have a lead right now, considering.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they have a lead with the tiebreakers. Yep.
So midway point of the season, technically, we've got an uneven amount of games, but hanging in there. So yeah, let's talk about these Cardinals, and let's see if they can continue and make us, I guess, envision that they have the ability to be at least a little consistent. Because we've seen, even in their wins, they've been inconsistent.
Yeah.
They haven't played a game where first and second half matched and they won. They actually have played so bad in the first half in both the San Fran win and the win last week. And it's like, wow, and then they've come back and won. Let's see if they can put two halves together.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, especially when it comes to being the next couple of games being at home as well. So let's get to it. The Chicago Bears are coming in at 4-3 to take on the 4-4 first place in the NFC West Division, Arizona Cardinals. And you got to say that one of the things that I think is important is to enjoy the victories along the way. I mean, you don't want to throw a party for it, but you at least want to be proud of what you're doing and try to see if you can, as you mentioned, be consistent and take it up to the next level. So the Bears are fourth in the NFC North coming in, and there were some high expectations, maybe unrealistic expectations. Maybe the expectations were somewhat correct in the sense that thinking that they could win 9-10 games-ish and really try to compete for a playoff spot because of the weapons around the one rookie quarterback, Caleb Williams. So I definitely want to get into your thoughts on Caleb Williams thus far, because looking at he came out the gate a little bit slow, and it's been kind of up and down. I want to say more down than up. Maybe you watch these games a little bit more closer to me, and of course, I want to get into kind of what can we expect to see a little bit more of that consistency, a little bit more high level play. Can the Cardinals really can they accept or play with a little bit of prosperity? And then, of course, what the Cardinals need to do to come out on top in this game and our picks for this game. So before we get to that, let's get to Caleb Williams just a little bit. So Caleb Williams, of course, the rookie coming from USC. What are your thoughts on him? Because I'll give you a couple just stat wise in terms of his yards, and I think across the league, yards or passing yards for quarterbacks are down. But if we look at from the opener all through last week's interesting loss to the Commanders, he had 93 yards, 174 yards, 363 yards, 157, 304, 226, and 131. He has 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions on the season. What is your what are your thoughts? What have you thought so far about Caleb Williams?
Well, it's interesting because a couple of years ago he won the Heisman Trophy, and then he might be the first to win too since Arch back at Ohio State days, and we saw him come out flat in that senior year, but he was almost shoved down our throat as almost like the second coming, the Messiah of quarterbacks.
Hmm.
And I always, I'm always alarmed when this can't miss guy is coming to the league. And think about Trevor Lawrence a few years ago. I mean, after his freshman year, it's a doggone shame he's got to wait and play in college, but we can go to the NFL because he's ready now. And we've seen him 3 or 4 years in his career still not be there. So we got the same thing with Caleb. And the difference in Caleb and Trevor Lawrence for me was the fact that Caleb almost came in believing a lot of his hype, like with the paint and nails and this, and I gotta be me, and I'm the leader, and what we've seen is it's that playing quarterback in the NFL is a hard job, bro.
Yeah.
And if your nose isn't just 100% on the grind, it can sometimes make you look like you're not ready for it. And there are times when he does not look like he's ready for it. Never overwhelmed, because we've seen Bryce Young over in Carolina just look overwhelmed at times. He doesn't
Yeah.
look overwhelmed, but he does still look like the game is moving just a tick too fast for him. Some of his mistakes, scrambling around, he still, I'll give you this one, he still thinks he's playing with boys, and he's out there with grown men who
Mm.
are just as fast, even stronger. The cornerbacks, everybody's, the coverage is tighter. So there are times when he gets the running around out there, and it's like, look, man, before you do all that tap dancing and stuff like that, just throw the ball away and save yourself a headache. So he still thinks he can do it like he did it at that college level, which sometimes is causing him issues. But I will say it does still look like the talent is there. It's just a matter of him maturing as a quarterback, the game slowing down for him, and also, maybe not thinking he's Superman quite yet. So when I look at his game, and that's the reason you see, like, you running off his yardage totals. There's some inconsistencies in there because he's
Hmm.
still not playing the game consistently. Um, you know, obeying all the rules at the position. But I still will say he's got a good arm. Throws a good ball. They put some weapons around him. I think they would be benefit, meaning the Bears would benefit from utilizing their running game even more to support him.
To that point, because I was going to throw some stuff out at you. Because if I told you that the Chicago Bears, when it comes to their passing yards a game, they are 184 yards a game is what they average, and that's 28th in the league. You would think that your running game would be stronger, but it's not, in the sense that they're 19th in terms of their rushing yards per game. The Chicago Bears at 117 yards per game, and that's you would have to, if you're trying to bring along a quarterback, to your point, you would want to have more of a stout, more of a dependable running game, right?
They do the same thing that we do. They abandon it. I've watched some of their games. They're good at abandoning their running game just as fast as we can. And
Okay.
sometimes it's like it's a mystery. Like, I'll even I'm not sure if you caught last night's game, CJ Stroud against the Jets. He's got all these weapons missing, Diggs, Collins, they're banged up. The offensive line stinks. And what do? They come out and initially, I mean, Mixon should have had 40 carries for
Yeah.
200 yards. They were running the ball efficiently, but every time you turn around, it was like, well, we're gonna prove that we can throw the ball, and they're dropping him back in these long, 5 and 7 step drops instead of just pounding the rock, pounding the rock. Let's get in and get out of here with a victory. It's like, I don't know what happens with these offensive coordinators. You got this young quarterback. Let's protect him. Offensive line is not doing a good enough job. Let's run the ball. Same thing with the Bears. There are times when you're like, just run the ball. Just because you have the shiny, whatever fast car doesn't mean you have to get on the highway and drive at 100 miles an hour. There are speed limits out there for a reason. And just, get out there, and if you're going to the grocery store, just drive like you're going to the grocery store. You're not going to the doggone track to get a
Right.
few laps in. And with these quarterbacks, it's like, just run the ball. And like I said, we've been screaming it forever. Kyler Murray's in his fifth year, and we're
Hmm.
still trying to figure out. You got a good running game, when you do use it, why not continue to use it? And the Bears, and like I said, we'll find out. It's this game's gonna be a little bit like looking in the mirror
Hmm.
because we have similar, I guess, good traits about this team or these teams, but we also have the similar bad traits where we, like I said, we both can just abandon the running game and not use it to protect our quarterbacks. And this might be one of those games where the smarter team wins, the better game plan. So, but yeah, the Caleb Williams on his success so far, I would grade him out as a C plus. He hasn't been. It's been a couple games when he's been good, better than bad, but I wouldn't say he's done anything to make me like, oh my God, he hasn't had many of those games yet, but he's definitely got the talent to be in this league. How good he is will just come, how the game either slows down for him or he continues to mature as a quarterback. But he's definitely got skills.
Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. He's Ed Smith. I am Javon Adams. We are presented by Bet Online. As I want to start to talk about handling prosperity, or maybe the pathway or your vision getting a little bit blurred and maybe thinking that you're further along than you are. The trade deadline is going to be coming up here in the NFL on the 5th of November. And the Cardinals, we know that they're to say that they have no pass rush is not putting it succinctly. They have no pass rush. I mean, when we're talking about from the appropriate positions. So there's been some rumors that the Cardinals are maybe looking to make at least making calls to see about making a possible move, maybe looking at a couple of players, maybe looking at that speculated, maybe Ojulari from the New York Giants, maybe an old long in the tooth Jadeveon Clowney from the Carolina Panthers. Let's see, Tryon Shoyinka from Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Preston Smith maybe from the Green Bay Packers. And so my question to you is, one, if the Cardinals do go after somebody go after a pass rusher, would you want them to make one of those to go after an older player, or maybe somebody that fits into what their plan is to maybe incorporate somebody in for a little bit more of a longer term stay? What would your thoughts be in terms of maybe getting off of their timeline, because you're thinking we need a pass rush, we're first in the NFC West, what can we do? We know that this is what our timeline is. Let's timeline be damned, we're just going to go in and make some type of bold move to get them off track a bit. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a great question, Jay. I would answer that if I would be giving advice to the front office. This is all about long-term success here. This isn't about going out and getting a rental for the rest of the season. Anybody I'm looking to bring into this organization, if I'm going to spend money on it, I want to spend multiple years, because in my opinion, this season, regardless of how it turns out, this is not a championship season for this organization.
Right.
This team is not talented enough. You'd have to go out and spend so much to upgrade too many different positions to think that this is a team that could make a run. And I mean, there's not enough time and money in this instance. But what you can do is start stacking pieces for the future. Meaning, if there's somebody out there that somebody's not happy with that right now, or they're trying to get rid of, and they've got long-term years on their contract, where we can maybe jump the line a little bit in terms of bidding, trying to outbid everybody during the offseason for a free agent. If we have our eye on somebody, let's go get him now, incorporate him into our environment, and then we get to the offseason, and now he's part of our team. He's part of our future plans. We roll forward. We don't need to be going out and purchasing or leasing vehicles right now just for short term.
Right.
That to me, that's hustling backwards. Because what they've done so far with these 2 off seasons, they've showed us that they're, I guess, willing to be patient, and they're also not willing to spend a whole lot of money. Don't do it now all of a sudden just because you're 4-4. Stay the course. But like I said, if you're looking long term and there's a player out there that you have your designs on, go get him and make him part of the organization. And as far as age, I'm looking at someone like if we're grabbing somebody like right now would not be the time to go get a JJ Watt type player. Now I'm saying he's a pass dude that we brought in, but that was for a team that thought we're taking our shot right now. We don't
Mhm.
need an older guy in here. We could use some experience, but not an older guy just to have in here. I think if you got to find somebody as close to their prime as possible to bring him in and start building pieces around what you have, and that could include the offensive line as well. Jay, I know
Mhm.
we're looking at edge rush and stuff like that, but we got to start looking at all the positions that we're trying to, solidify here with this team. So maybe like if there's a great cornerback out there that someone's willing to part ways with, an offensive lineman, just because it's not because we could obviously use some edge and some rush, some help on our front four defensively. But there's nothing against the rules that we can't solidify other positions. Some people go out and shop early for Christmas, bro. I
Yeah.
mean, there's nothing wrong. We don't have to wait. I know the holidays are upon us, and everybody's gonna be scrambling over the next 4 to 8 weeks or whatever. And I'm saying you can't shop in January or July either for Christmas. And
Right.
that's what we'd be doing now if we went out and found a piece that might help us a little bit now, but we're not looking for now. We're looking for long term. Hey, this could be our Christmas in July kind of thing. Go find those players that you're gonna want here, and gives you less to shop for later on in the off season as well.
And to your point in terms of what you mentioned, a couple of those players, I Bleav, what is it, Darius Robinson? He's active. I don't know how much he's going to play, if at all. That's going to be interesting to see because they had that window in order to be once they had taken him off of IR. And then Jonah Williams, the right tackle, he has been designated to return from IR as well. So we'll see kind of how that plays in. But the reason I asked that question is because I wonder sometimes, because you've been both in the locker rooms and in the clubhouse where you're having success. How do you, when you were either having success that you didn't expect to have, or you were having the success that you expected to have, how that affects you mentally in your preparation for the game? The reason I ask is because 2 wins in a row, all of a sudden fans that were saying that were maybe a little bit apprehensive or a little bit hesitant to really jump on board, maybe they're showering you with a little bit more praise. Maybe you're feeling that we are rounding into who we are as a team. Maybe it's the perfect confluence of events. How do you handle those things when you maybe think I was giving 100% every time at practice? Now I can give 90 because I know what to do. So you start to adjust a bit, or is this one of those things where you see a little bit of success and you want more? You're that sales. You just had 10 sales calls. You ended up getting 4 people that you closed, and so you're thinking, yeah, I can do 40% tomorrow too. I'm going to do 13 sales calls and see if I can still have the same close rate. What goes through the mind of a professional athlete when you start to see some of that success?
Well, if you've done your due diligence and brought the right people into your organization, you want those people that are hungry for more. If you've done a bad job of compiling your talent and attitudes, and you're just lucky enough to maybe be doing well, you'll get the guys that are satisfied. I remember when I was in Atlanta that second year. We started the first year, 97, 1-7 start, finished off 6-2, on the for the last 8 games of the season. We felt like we were building something, but that following season, there was nothing guaranteed. We went into it, and we started feeling some success early. Started with a couple victories, went out to Cali and got our heads bashed in by the Niners. And it's interesting because that was the beginning. After that first loss of the season, Coach Reeves was like, "We're building something here," and he was sensing that some people were already satisfied. There was a couple people that got let go early because they weren't fully built in. I think I've told you the story before about one of our DBs. Went out there to San Fran, got crushed. He's on the plane ride back from Cali to Atlanta, who he hawed, and he's one of those dudes that had a pretty bad game. We get in the meetings the next day, Monday, he was gone, released. And he never got to enjoy that ride the rest of the way with us. But that was a sign, like, Coach Reeves was like, we're not here to win a couple games, and we're here to we got goals, and I want the right people around. So for the Cardinals, for a team like them, when you're in this situation, like I said, they've done a pretty good job of making some corrections within the walls of the organization. The right kind of guys for this team and moving forward. And you would hope that everybody would want to work harder, after having a little success,
Yeah.
and build on this,
Yeah.
and know that the goal isn't to be 4-4, scraping away. We want to get to a point where we're considered one of the better teams in the league, and that takes time. Doesn't happen overnight. So to watch, be interesting to see, because I think what happens too, you get a couple victories that nobody thought you were going to get. You also have lost a couple games that we weren't supposed to lose. We're still not there yet. We're still very inconsistent, and this thing, as nice and good a story as it seems right now, we go and spin a couple bad ones like we have the ability to do from time to time.
Yeah.
All the great things that they're saying about you and patting everybody on the back, that can turn into boos and heckles real fast. We know that.
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting to see, especially this game. Once again, Jay, Bears, they're coming off their bad loss, but this is a team coming in here, rookie quarterback. We've experienced this already with Jaden Daniels coming here. This is the game we should dominate. We shouldn't allow them to come in to our house and do what they want to do. You got to make that young man uncomfortable. Once again, we got to force our will on them. And, too many times we've just sat back and let it be done to us. So is this a game? If we lose this game, people will, well, we won 2 in a row, but nah, this is again one of those ones on the schedule, circumstances, you factor everything in. This is a game we should win. This isn't a game we should be just hanging around or, bad first half when we fall too far behind, or let them get comfortable and come here and take a victory from us. So
Yeah.
this is
So
a test.
let's get into that then. Let's get into that. So as we get into this, and as I do this, pull up that bet online, the line for me, so we can get into that when we make our picks. But if we're looking at this, so the Cardinals 2-2 at home, the Bears are 0-3 on the road. So there's something there. So I'm just trying to things to maybe pick apart. The Cardinals in terms of points per game. The Bears 23.3 points per game. That's puts them at 16th, and the Cardinals are 18th with 22.3. So it's almost like it's a wash there in terms of when you look at it. The Cardinals give up a lot more points. We know this for a fact because they have that bend don't break type of offense, bend don't break type of defense. So what that translates into is 25.6 points per game that they give up, which is 24th in the league. But the Bears, when they talk about monsters of the midway and all that stuff, there is some truth to that in the sense that they're only giving up 17 points per game, which puts them at 4th. They're both on the plus side when it comes to takeaways. The defensive yards per game, the Cardinals, they give up 140 yards a game, and the Bears give up 120. When it comes to pass yards per game, defensively, the Bears give up 199, which puts them at 11th, and the Cardinals 235, which puts them at 26. All that to say, the Bears haven't won on the road. The Cardinals are 500 at home. There is an opportunity that it would seem to try to, if nothing else, then I guess where do you see the weaknesses for the Bears? Because the Bears aren't going to give up a whole lot of points, but you got to stay true to what you do. If we're looking at it as a team, you want to establish the run, even though the Bears don't necessarily they're not giving up a whole lot of yards on the ground. But so how do you see this game playing out for the Cardinals? Because to your point, this is one of those games that they should win, which makes it one of those nail biting, which brings about a lot of angst, because will they deliver on a game they should win?
Well, first off, this bet online. This game is, I would call this an MC Hammer game right here. Can't touch this. Doom, do. This is a 1 point. Cardinals. Cardinals are favored by 1. And when the president, that's tight, bro. I know that's basically a flip the coin in the air.
Yeah,
we're gonna give you a point, but this one could go either way.
Yeah,
and I equate this to the chili cook-off game too, bro. Both teams, we're gonna do it like chop style. We'll give you all the same ingredients, And then we're going to toss it out there and see who comes up with the best tasting chili.
Yeah.
And this is all about recipe right here. This is all about, who uses that extra paprika, or you going to use that smoked paprika. That's even better. And when I say that, I'm talking about the run game. Who's going
Yeah.
to come in here, run the ball, establish the line of scrimmage, not come in here all pass happy and try to throw the ball all over the place. The Bears, if they're smart, they come in here and utilize their running game. If the Cardinals are smart, we utilize ours. I don't think this could be one of those games where a whole lot of points are scored, but the Bears seem like they get stingy from time to time. So this could be a defensive type of game. The
Yeah.
Cardinals, as far as I'm concerned, their gameplay. I mean, this would be like two teams looking across, just wearing different uniforms,
With
but
that
having
Spider-Man meme, the Spider-Man meme, with
Yeah.
the pointing, yeah.
Yeah, this should be two teams. Young quarterback. Well, ours is a little older. I guess he's considered a veteran right now, but similar style of quarterback. One's a little shorter than the other, obviously. But we should be trying to run the ball, establish, clock in this game time possession, everything. And they should be trying to do the exact same thing to us on the other side. I don't know which coaching staff is smarter, though. But I've seen the Bears do some dumb stuff. We witnessed it last week with them losing that game against the Commanders, not just in the way they lost it in the Hail Mary, but their whole game plan. It was like they were stuck in mud, stinking for 3+ quarters, and they finally got it together. So they have that problem with consistency, just like we do. It's like we come out against Miami, and I thought that was going to be a runaway again, just like the San Fran game. And then somehow in the second half, we figured something out and just got it right. This is a hard one to call because, neither team has showed both great coaching prowess or playing prowess to this point. So it's almost like, with a 1-point spread, anybody could win this game. I am looking for the Cardinals to maybe make this a 3-game winning streak, but I'm not really confident in that just because I don't know which Cardinals team is going to show up. Yeah, we'll make our picks here in a second, but these are the type of games, Jay, from the first quarter, the first couple drives, I'm like, it's either going to look good or it's going to look bad, and you get the feel. However it starts off, it's going to look like it's got some flow to it, or it's going to look choppy. And one side or the other, you're going to be like, yeah, that's not working today. That looks better. And I wish I had a crystal ball where I could watch the first 2 series and then make my pick. But obviously, we just got to do this thing as professionals. But yeah, this good game has the potential to look really good or really bad, just like that game last week between the Commanders and Bears did. I think I told you that was one of those. It was like watching a horrible movie that had a great ending.
Yeah.
Right. So the same thing. This game could have a really good ending to it that makes us think it was a really good game, but it has the potential to be a stinker for 3+ quarters until we get to that good ending.
I wonder if there are going to be a lot of those Chicago Bear fans in the
Tons
building.
of them.
Because there are a lot of folks that move from the Midwest and they come out here and they like the Cardinals or they warm up to the local teams, but when there's somebody from their neck of the woods comes in, then they go to their regular allegiance, their original allegiance. But so now let's get down to the picking of it. I'm with you because if they can win 3 in a row, and even so, it would be 3 different types of games that they've won, right? Because this, coming back with the Dolphins and still trying to figure out what that identity is. I think this will be a close game. What I do think is it might be a little bit higher scoring than we think because for one reason, I think that there's a possibility that the Cardinals will look and say, they give up more yards. They give up passing yards. So we're going to focus on an aerial attack as opposed to trying to stick with the running game, even though the Bears are a little bit more stout when it comes to the running game. I'll go out on the limb first in terms of picking, and I'll say 24-21 Cardinals. It might come down to
Okay.
their kicker, the new hero of the squad. Maybe he'll come down and then he'll end up kicking another. It's funny because he's kicking so kicking well enough to where Prater is an afterthought now. Don't even worry about it. We got this, which is why oftentimes players, especially in the NFL, will play through injuries because all it takes is me being down for 1 week, a couple of series for the coach to look and say, "There's a younger model over there. Yeah, let's go ahead and get that. Let's run that one out instead of the one that we got." But I think 24-21 Cardinals, coming down to the wire.
And for me, I'm thinking very similar. I have this one. This has and I might be a little high on my score, but I'm thinking 26-24 Cardinals,
Okay.
which would cover the spread by, if you want to get on there and toss a couple nickels on this one. But this, like I said, this is a tough one to bet because it is so tight. You're either, you got to be all in on these type of games when they're 1-point spreads. But I think the Cardinals will come out. I think they'll fumble their way through it in the first half again, and then just figure something out in the second half. And I will say this is one of those rare games where I give the coach, because the Bears coaching staff,
coaching advantage. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, this is one of those rare times when ours is better, at least a little better than yours over there, and they've got a defensive-minded staff and have not made the best of moves to this point. And I think they might still be reeling from that Hail Mary last week, and that's a blow to the stomach. So I do think we can win this game, and part of it might be our advantage that we just, even as bad as we can be sometime coaching wise, I think we have the advantage in this one. So 26-24 Cardinals.
All right. So he is Ed Smith. I'm Javon Adams. We are presented by Bet Online. Make sure you tell a friend about what we have going on here at Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. And so we shall see. Hopefully we'll be talking about an extension of the win streak and make it 3 in a row, because that would definitely be awesome. But as we always like to say around this time, are you can